Susi Snyder is the Nuclear Disarmament Program Manager for PAX in the Netherlands. She is the primary author of the Don't Bank on the Bomb Global Report on the financing for nuclear weapons producers, which has been produced annually, a report for the past 3 years. She is an international steering group member of the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. And she previously served as the International Secretary General of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. Susi.
Great. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I hope I don't make you feel uncomfortable, Cole, if I stand up. It's a little bit easier for me. It's the after lunch, after workshops. My brain is full with a lot of information. Some of it is exciting. Some of it is a bit of a downer. And I want to stand up and get my blood going a little bit. I'm also really chilly, so I like to move around. So I hope that's okay. Thanks for the great introduction. I'm really excited that people are talking about the money. That is important. Money, money makes things happen. And we're talking about this trillion-dollar triad. But for me, $1 trillion doesn't really make a lot of sense. I can't see $1 trillion. I'll never see $1 trillion, all right? If any of you will ever see $1 trillion, can we hang out later? But I'll never see it. But I do wonder, how do I make this feel real to me? So I want to think about it a little bit differently. I want to throw something out there at you. When you break down this $1 trillion over 30 years, what we actually are talking about is more than the normal US household income per minute on nuclear weapons. So we're talking about $66,000 per minute on nuclear weapons. And that's a lot. And that's a lot of money we could do other things with. And we have to move governments to do other things with that. And that takes time, and it takes pressure, and it takes sustained effort. And I'm so glad that there are people here putting in that time and sustained effort. There's also a lot of other interests, and there's other ways we have agency and power to deal with this money and to deal with the money associated with nuclear weapons. Raise your hand if you have a bank account. Yeah, oh wow, that's like everyone, because just about everybody does. And we can use our power as account holders to deal with nuclear weapons. And so I want to talk a little bit about what it is that I do to help you to use your power as an account holder. Okay, so I create this report, Don't Bank on the Bomb, every year. And we look at a few key things. We look at the companies that are publicly traded and are involved in nuclear weapons programs. So we look at, in this last year's report, 26 companies. Here are their logos. We put it all up on our website, and they are making the key components. Now, these are not guys that are making screws. These are not guys that are making toilets. These are guys that are making key components necessary for nuclear weapons to be detonated. Okay, so these are 26 companies. We update this list every year. We do very strict, and I'm really a stickler for detail, very strict and a hardcore analysis, and we verify and consult with them to make sure their contracts are current. And when it comes to nuclear weapons production, sometimes we change the list because a company will have ended its contract. And then we find out, a company changes its name. Babcock & Wilcox sold off part of its division to BWX Technologies. So we change and update our information. We want to make this information as accurate and as usable as possible for you, the bank account holder. Because a lot of banks have policies on where and how they will invest your money. Banks have policies, insurance companies have policies, pension funds have policies. We look at those policies. We put together what we call the Hall of Fame. Right now, our Hall of Fame is primarily in Europe. So we need to get some more Americans going, on this Hall of Fame thing. These are companies, our Hall of Fame are companies that have the ultimate gold standard of policy. They will not put any money into any company that has anything to do with nuclear weapons. All right? These are great. And they make sure they won't invest in the whole company. So a company like Boeing also makes planes. Airbus also makes planes. These financial institutions, our Hall of Fame, won't invest in those companies. They won't say, we invest in good projects, like new airplanes. No. They say the whole company is excluded. And this is important. This is one of our criteria. And then we talk to these financial institutions. And we say, what is it that you need to have a good policy? Because we have a Hall of Fame, but we also have a runners-up. Between 2014 and 2015, we added 30 new financial institutions to our runners-up category. 30 new institutions that say, we'll do something to limit our investment in nuclear weapon production. So something is better than nothing. Something means that they heard from their clients. They heard from people who say, I don't want my money to touch nuclear weapons. And they're at least doing something. And then we work with them. We say, you did something, but it's not good enough, so you're not a Hall of Famer yet. How can we get you there? And last week, we got 2 pension funds, the Dutch railway pension funds. They're going to go in the Hall of Fame because they added another company to their exclusion list. They said, you saw your report. We didn't believe that this company, Moog, had anything to do with nuclear weapons. But then we did our own investigation. We found out, you're right. We'll divest from them immediately. And we said, great. Now we'll be able to make sure that you're in our Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame, we check to make sure they implement the policy. And then, of course, we have a Hall of Shame. Because, you got to point out who has investment. It's important for us to know who are the people who are making this money available. Who is it that lets the companies get these loans, that puts these revolving credit facilities? Who has assets with these companies, owns their shares, their stocks, their bonds? 382 financial institutions do. Most of those are actually here in the US, but they're not only. They're from a bunch of other countries as well. It's actually, let's see, do I have a list? Yeah, 27 countries overall that are financial institutions in a Hall of Shame. And we publish this list. We put their names out there so people know, is my bank banking on the bomb or not? And it's important, because if you don't have the information, you can't do anything, right? It's kind of key. And then we help and provide support as much as we can for campaigns. Campaigns are awesome. Doing something feels good. Doing something about nuclear weapons feels really good to be able to do something about this. And you know what? It doesn't take a lot of people. We got Swedbank in Sweden to divest because we got one person got to a journalist who was freaked out by how many banks in Sweden were involved in nuclear weapons and connected to nuclear weapons, got a front page story, and all of a sudden all these people posted stuff on the Swedbank Facebook page saying, what? You can't put nuclear weapons, you can't put my money in nuclear weapons. We can't be connected with this. No, it's not Swedish. We've got, that one person then within Swedbank changed the policy. Now they're pretty good, really excited. We've got campaigns going on in the UK, the Royal Bank of Scotland, in Germany, in Belgium, in Sweden, as I said, in Austria, in Australia, and things are picking up here. We're really happy that things are also picking up here. We also have a little tool on our website. Now, I'm not a big technical person, so maybe there's some great technical people who can help us make this tool a little bit better. But we have a little thing. You can send a message to financial institutions through our website directly. So it's don'tbankonthebomb.com, and you can click on the send a message, and then you can send these financial institutions directly, just, put in your name and say, this is my bank, I want you to get your money out of nuclear weapons. You can click to tweet at them. We uploaded their Twitter addresses and stuff like that. I'm a big person on Twitter. I love to do it. And there's always an excellent tool that I think some of you, I have, some of you may also have. Do you have banking on your phone? Like you can check your balance and stuff like that? There's a little icon, generally a little mailbox. You can send a message to your bank and ask them a question. You can do that right now. There's free Wi-Fi here. You can do it right now. And you can say, do you have a policy on nuclear weapons? Is my money connected to nuclear weapons? I don't want it to be. When you take that tiny little action, you start a reaction. And it's not a kind of, fissile chain reaction, but it's a good one. Yeah, and it's something that everybody can do, and I hope and encourage everyone to do. And if you'd like to learn more, please get in touch with me, tweet at me, call me, send me an email, and I'm happy to talk to you all. And thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Susie. Well, we have time for just a couple of questions for Jonathan and Susie. Yes?
Among the institutions that you listed, I was surprised to see that you didn't list the University of California, because they are involved in operating Los Alamos and towards Livermore. Now, we can all agree that the UC does a lot of noble work, it's a noble institution, but are you suggesting that by that metric we should be boycotting them?
No, we don't talk about boycott per se. Boycott is another tool. We focus on divestment. So we focus on the way that we get institutions to take their money out. And we get people to get their institutions to take their money out. But you're absolutely right. The University of California system is closely tied to the nuclear weapons industry. It's something that we make a note of, but because we don't consider them a private company, so we don't list them quite that same way. But we do actually have a note about them in the report because it's important for people to be aware of their relationship. And if you're from the UC system, then by all means, get in touch. Be angry. This is a reason to get angry. Nuclear weapons are a reason to get angry, and to channel that anger into something constructive. And hopefully, divesting is a way to do that.
Okay, anyone else? Yes?
Susie, do you have state-by-state listings of nuclear firms operating across the country?
Across the U.S., I do not. What I have is a global report. I'm in the Netherlands. I don't have it's me and an intern that do this work. And we don't have the resources or capacity to put that together. We do, however, work with a lot of other people, a lot of volunteers, a lot of other organizations, and we can help direct people into where to find that kind of information, but we can't put that together ourselves at this point in time.
I'll tell you why I asked. Walt Havenstein, who lost for the governorship of New Hampshire, is Mr. BAE. Oh, yeah. And in 2014, he was running for governor at the same time that Scott Brown was running for the Senate. So what you had was the military-industrial complex running to run the state of New Hampshire. So any data we can get from anybody by way of state-by-state breakdowns might help. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks. Time for one more. One more question.
Oh, at Susi Snyder.
Okay, over there. Yes.
One clarification and then a comment. When you talk about companies that are making nuclear weapons, are you also including companies that are manufacturing the delivery vehicles?
Great question. This is actually a really important question, and we make a distinction between the warhead and the delivery system, delivery vehicles. So we don't actually get into the F-35. We don't get into the Ohio subs. We talk about the warheads themselves. A lot of the companies do both, but because of a resource, really it's resource restraint, we are limited in what we can put out there. There is, we've had some, it's important to look at that, the bigger picture, but we only can do as much as me and the intern can do.
I just wanted to say quickly that As individuals or whoever we are, I think we really need to target both. I know your constraints, but also anybody who has something that they believe is a socially responsible investment, look again, because it's shocking what some of those funds invest in.
We see we have a need in the U.S. to have research come together and target the military-industrial complex and the delivery systems. Okay, well, thank you.